sunrise sectors, let's move on to the young of this real estate segment, and let's have a conversation with the young generation of Indian realty, you the future. So let me bring in the veteran of the industry, Gulam Zia, Senior Executive Director, Research Advisory, Infrastructure and Valuation, Knight Frank India Private Limited, to talk to these young Turks of Indian real estate. Gulam needs no introduction, but still let me give a little brief about him. He has a vast experience across the entire gamut of real estate services, from valuations, consulting, transactions, and project management, working with clients across governments, corporates, and public sector companies. Akash, Mr. Zia, a very warm welcome to you. Let me now introduce our young speakers of this panel. Akash Pharande, Managing Director, Pharande Spaces. He has spearheaded many projects in his decade-long association with Pharande Spaces, and his technical expertise, domain knowledge, focus on PropTech, and extensive cross-functional experience has helped the group to pioneer the growth in this segment. Anup Jhamtani, Managing Director, Jhamtani Realty Private Limited, is our next speaker. One of Pune's most sought-after real estate developer, Anup Jhamtani, is a first-generation young and dynamic developer who has built the brand brick by brick and taken the organization to the top. Next panel member, let me introduce Mohit Jajoo, Executive Director and CEO of Shubhashish Homes. Mohit established Shubhashish Homes in 2020, and he is member of the Executive Committee of Young Indians CII Rajasthan, and is also the chairperson of its learning vertical Credai Rajasthan and TIE. Next panel member is Ms. Nikita Garg, partner, Hunt Partners. With 15 years of experience in the industry, Nikita has established herself as a leading expert in the real estate and infrastructure sectors, boasting the highest number of mandates executed in the year and the largest volume of new clients. Next panel member, let me introduce Pyush Lohia, Director, Lohia Worldspace. And Pyush oversees the entire customer-facing activities of the group business, ranging from marketing to operations to technology, and his vast knowledge and detailed exposure to the diversified industries has played a pivotal role in the growth and expansion of the group. Next and final member is Rayan Munawer, founder, Houzbay Consulting, and Rayan's journey includes experience at firms like Puravankara, Mantri, and global giants like Cushman and ITC that has broadened his horizons, instilling in him a global perspective. And at Houzbay, his vision is of integrating technology into sales and customer relations. So this is our eminent panel, and I hand it over to Gulam to speak to these young professionals of this industry. And Gulam, you are as young as them, so hand it over to you now.
Thank you so much, Sapna, and thank you so much for that damage control initiative. You started with calling me a veteran and ended saying that I'm also young. Thank you so much for making it a mix of both. And I call it damage control. Why damage control? Because, I feel like in this group of youngsters, के इतने young लोगों में एक भेड़िए को छोड़ दिया बूढ़ा जो आके इन लोगों से discussion करने वाला है. So I hope a mix of Hindi and Angrezi is fine with all. Let me start with a warm wishes of Akshaya Tritiya to all speakers and all viewers today. It's a great occasion for all of us to express our views on this day. I'm sure many of you must have gone out and bought a few things important in your life. I'm watching the number of transactions happening on Mumbai home sales. It's also one of the record-breaking numbers on Akshaya Tritiya. So I want to assume that this is a great occasion, a good momentum, auspicious one for all of us to then interact. I guess you all have received some list of questions. And I hate to tell you that I keep those questions in least of regards. I would rather go absolute open, with such a group of youngsters full of energy, experiences, etc. It's absolutely useless to go by a script or a content which somebody else has decided for us. So I hope it's all okay if we go absolutely free willy. Wonderful. So let's get rolling. So here I see a group of youngsters who are on one side from real estate. Uh, I'm saying developers. You have developers, you have youngsters engaging in prop tech. And of course, Nikita is there, who is a people's person who will be helping us identify where do we get our resources to deliver the promises we are making to our stakeholders. So is that it, or am I missing out something? So essentially developers and prop tech experts. That's right. So so let me start. And once again, I would also comment on Realty Plus ka initiative that they've brought in, participants from, say, Jaipur, Pune, etc. I appreciate that. It's something which normally doesn't happen when you have people from all over India, especially when India, Bharat, is reaching that next level of superpower where the growth and economic rewards are reaching all over the country. Recently, we did certain report where we identified 30 top cities in the country where we focused on certain real estate aspect. And we were pleased to see how real estate is growing in, the whole country, not just real estate, why the economic growth is reaching out to the lowermost strata of the society. So here, the first thing I wanted to start with is that because I was asked to talk about the future. So let's focus on the future first. And will come specific to each of you. To me, the future is, and as I said earlier, and Sapna started with that I'm a veteran. So I agree that I may have, the best of my year could be behind me. What we are looking at is an economy. We are the roaring tigers. We are right now at about 4 trillion kind of an economy, targeting to reach 10 trillion and 25 trillion. If I'm planning to compete with China, 25 trillion is what I'm targeting for myself. I guess there are some numbers that by the time Bharat will be 100 years old, we will be reaching that target of 25 trillion and crossing over it. And here, this is the group of people who will be carrying India to that next level. I want to believe that all of you have at least 25 years of your career ahead of you. So all of you are going to be the ones who will be witnessing the 100th year of Bharat. So let's focus on just that. What is it that you see that in next 25 years, when the economy is going from 4 to 25 odd trillion, how do we participate in that? Let me start with Rajasthan. I love that city, Jaipur. Jaipur से आप हमारे साथ हैं Mohit, Jajoo. Mohit, I want to start with you. Also because infrastructure, the way it is growing, we need to really keep up with it. I'm told that there's something called as NCRTC, which is making high-speed rails. Already Meerut से CP को connect कर दिया गया है. CP से Jaipur is going to be the third leg. तो अगले 5 साल, 8 साल, 10 साल में आप CP से जयपुर का फासला 1.5 घंटे में तय करने वाले हो. तो मोहित, मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे ये है कि जब इकोनॉमी इतनी चेंज हो रही है, दुनिया इतनी बदल रही है, तो दिल्ली से जयपुर के रास्ते में कहीं एक और मकाम आता है नीमराना, जहां पर you have so many Japanese clusters, etc., and of course, going forward, a lot of them are coming in. So what are you going to do? अगर आपके हाथ जयपुर और राजस्थान की real estate सौंप दी जाए, and ask you this question, how do you see the whole turnaround happening? How would you create the next level of real estate, housing, etc., to start with for all those Japanese expats to come over and stay in Jaipur instead of going all the way back to Gurgaon every day? What is it? What is your future, Mohit? Where do you see the turnaround is happening for us in Bharat?
So, am I audible clearly?
Yeah, yes, you are. Please go ahead.
So, I just introduce myself. I'm Mohit Jajoo. I'm the CEO of Shubhashish Homes. We are a real estate development company based out of Jaipur and doing some work in and around Jaipur. So, this is about me. So, जो आपका question था गुलाम, तो two things. First, we already have a new highway, which is the New Delhi Mumbai highway, which has reduced the journey from 24 hours to 12 hours. And the first phase of it is from Delhi to Jaipur, which is already ready. I've been using it regularly, and right now it is taking me 3 hours to reach Delhi, and it will further cut down to 1.5 2 hours, as you rightly mentioned. So the biggest change that I've already seen in last 1.5 years after this highway has been built, the Vande Bharats have started, is that now people have started migrating from Delhi to Jaipur. So Jaipur, being a typical tier 2 city, people aspire to go. Till now, people used to aspire to move on to bigger cities like a Bangalore, like a Hyderabad, like a MMR or NCR. But after this connectivity, people are what people are doing is that they're buying their houses in Jaipur. The reverse migration has started. So that is benefiting us in a big way. People are spending their weekdays in Delhi and coming over for the weekend to Jaipur. So that is one good sign which we are seeing. And I'm seeing this across the country. Wherever there is a big tier one city, they are developing a tier two city and reducing the distance. Like Pune is Mumbai Pune distance is almost reduced. It is less than 2 hours. Similarly, in other cities. So what we are doing is that we are so our core value, one of our major core values is being innovative and nature friendly. And for us, being sustainable is very, very important. So in our all of our projects, what we have done is we have introduced prepaid smart water meters. Jaipur being a dark zone, there is no water in Jaipur. Like Bangalore में तो अब खत्म हो रहा है, जयपुर में पानी था ही नहीं. तो हम तो बाहर से पानी लेकर आते हैं, कभी बीसलपुरा खत्म हो जाता है, कभी कुछ खत्म हो जाता है. सो प्रीपेड स्मार्ट वाटर मीटर ने अब तो स्मार्ट वाटर मीटर इज अ कॉमन कॉन्सेप्ट इन बैंगलोर. बट प्रीपेड करने से क्या होता है ना कि आदमी को रिचार्ज करना पड़ता है घर के अंदर पानी लेकर आने के लिए, जैसे अपन फोन का प्रीपेड रिचार्ज करते हैं. सो आफ्टर पुटिंग दैट इन ऑल द हाउसेज एंड ऑल द अपार्टमेंट्स एंड विलास, our water consumption over the last 3 years has reduced by 55% in our housing societies. That is one of the major issues I see going forward. इकोनॉमी बढ़ रही है, रियल एस्टेट $1 ट्रिलियन पहुंच जाएगा, सब कुछ हो जाएगा. बट पानी बीइंग द बेसिक नेसेसिटी, हमारे पास डिसैलिनेशन प्लांट है नहीं दुबई की तरह कि हम पानी सी से निकाल कर यूज कर लेंगे. स्पेशली प्लेस लाइक जयपुर और पुणे और बैंगलोर विच इज डिपेंडिंग ऑन फ्रेश वाटर फ्रॉम लेक्स और नियर बाय डैम्स. तो उनके लिए वाटर कंजर्वेशन इज अ बिग 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 चैलेंज एंड we are making sure that by using smart water meter our consumption is reduced. सेकेंड, हमने एक रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग का थोड़ा इनोवेशन किया है विच हैज रिड्यूस द कॉस्ट ऑफ द कंप्लीट स्ट्रक्चर. एंड हम लोग पर एकड़ 4 to 5 हार्वेस्टिंग पिट्स बनाते हैं, जो इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड है वो 1 हार्वेस्टिंग पिट का है. तो उससे ओवरऑल पानी रिचार्ज बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है. एंड द लास्ट थिंग आई वुड से इज हमारे यहाँ जितने भी अपार्टमेंट्स हैं, जितने भी विलाज हैं, हर एक के पास डेडिकेटेड इलेक्ट्रिकल कार चार्जिंग पॉइंट है. तो आवर फोकस गोइंग फॉरवर्ड इज नॉट द नंबर्स बट सस्टेनेबिलिटी होगी तो लोग अपने आप हमारे यहाँ मकान लेंगे, अपार्टमेंट लेंगे, दे विल बी हैप्पी बिकॉज दैट विल बी द थिंग व्हिच विल सेल इन द फ्यूचर.
Thank you so much, Mohit. Thank you so much. And keeping the same thing, the focus on India as a larger picture. And well, I'm sorry to say that Pune is also not the top 4 cities. Obviously, it's top 8.
Of course,
but I would want to come to Anup. Anup, आपसे यही question आगे बढ़ाना है, which something which I didn't really get much of a direct commitment from Mohit. I will come to you for that, Anup. कि अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि all those आपके यहाँ already एक Trump Tower आ चुका है, we are already into that league, etc. But if I have to make these cities global cities, whether it was Jaipur or Pune, etc., my typical perspective is many conferences में ये कहता हूँ कि जब हम हमारे बच्चों को अमेरिका वगैरह पढ़ाई के लिए भेजते हैं तो हम अमेरिका के शायद इन दैट ऑर्डर 20th 25th सिटी में भी कोई अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटी होगी बच्चों को भेज देते हैं. वही सवाल मैं हम यहाँ पूछता हूँ जब मैं इंडिया से किसी बम्बई में रहने वाले को कि किसी जयपुर या जैसलमेर जैसी किसी शहर में आप बच्चे को पढ़ाई या जॉब के लिए भेजोगे तो आंसर एक मोस्टली नहीं आता है. इसका कारण यही है कि हमारी सिटीज उतनी डेवलप नहीं हो रही है, ग्रो नहीं हो रही है, ग्लोबल सिटीज हमारी नहीं बन रही है. तो मेरा क्वेश्चन है, बिकॉज यूर पार्ट ऑफ द रियल एस्टेट फ्रेटर्निटी, अनूप, आपसे दोबारा वही सवाल मैं करना चाहूंगा कि what is it that has to be done to ensure that once Pune is turning into a global city, आप as a real estate participant, as a developer, create something different. ये चीज बहुत हो रही है, हमारे मकान, हमारा रियल एस्टेट. एक लिटिल एग्जांपल आई वुड वांट टू गिव. हम जब ऑफिस सेक्टर की बात करते हैं, मुंबई में बेहतरीन ऑफिसेस 600 रुपए 700 रुपए रेंट के ऊपर नहीं जाते. एंड आई वाज अमेज्ड टू सी दैट इफ आई कंपेयर एप्पल टू एप्पल, office space in London is 10x costlier than the best office space in Mumbai. So if the people are paying 10x of what they're paying in India, why would India not aspire? Why should India not aspire to be in that league? तो मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे यही है अगेन अनूप कि व्हाट इज इट दैट यू थिंक इन नेक्स्ट 25 ईयर, योर विजन, योर फैंटेसी, कि आप क्या करना चाहोगे कि पूना शुड compete with say a Boston or a London or Leeds? What different it should be? अनूप, किस तरह से आपको फर्क लाना चाहोगे इंडिया में? Over to you, अनूप.
हाय गुलाम, थैंक्स फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कि आपने सारे क्वेश्चंस को थ्रो आउट करके एक नया ही सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चन हमको दिया. आई वाज आल्सो प्रीटी अमेज्ड दैट वी हैव अ प्री सेट क्वेश्चन, सो इट्स रियली गुड टू रियली गुड टू गो एक्स टेम्पो एंड हियर टू योर great questions. And yeah, you're right that when we compare to the rest of the world, we are far behind when it comes to over social development of the entire city, and rather we would have only gated communities with built-in amenities and all that. We have been there, we have done that, and I think now we are also changing gears when it comes to Pune. You said we are not in the top 8. I agree, but we are the top selling cities of India if you check the last financial calendar. One of the key reasons for that is also that we are the most affordable when it comes to the top 10 cities. People in Pune still find it easier to afford a new house with the gated communities, with the built-in amenities. Being said that, infrastructure is definitely the most vital part, which will bring us to the world map. Pune is now finally getting its own metro. Parts of it are already started. So metro is definitely one of the key areas for us to commute. We are building flyovers left, right, and center. With the double engine government, last 2.5 years has been fabulous. And I hope so that it continues in the near future. Also, we have currently, if you see, Pune is divided into 3-4 different zones. One is Pune Municipal Corporation, one is Pimpri Chinchwad Municipal Corporation, which is more towards the west of Pune, and it is IT backed by Hinjawadi and closer to Bombay. And then there is now something called as PMRDA, which is 10 times bigger than both these municipal corporations combined. And if you see the ring road plan and the plans for this PMRDA, they have already come up with the new complete town planning maps. And of course, they are not out as yet. But if you see, they have actually divided Pune into different parts, where one part is completely towards arts and culture. You'll have bigger theaters, bigger art spaces. And then there's one another part of PMRDA, which is totally dedicated to sports. So if you are inclined towards arts, you'll go towards the arts section of PMRD. And if you're inclined towards sports, you'll go towards that section, and so on and so forth. Pune, as you know, is a cultural capital of Maharashtra, and it's the second biggest city after Bombay. We sold 1 lakh homes last year, and people keep looking at Pune as the next destination for their children to go. So also because of we have good universities, good college culture, and I think that continues to grow with every year. As developers, we would definitely want to make use of the new age norms that have come in. Technology has to play a vital part. Now we are also clubbing with a lot of such activities which may not be available in the project, but by joining hands with few clubs which are sports centric, which may be a few, like one of our developers in Pune, he actually joined hands with the pioneers of industry, like Shamak Davar ke dance classes honge, sports mein kisi अच्छे sportsmen. I think he's joined up with Rohit Sharma or MS Dhoni, I'm not sure, but that is how the tie-ups are now happening. So there are kids-centric homes, children-centric homes coming up, and so on and so forth. And also co-living, student housing, everything is there in Pune, and it's growing fabulously. We just launched one co-living today and on Akshaya Tritiya. So rather than buying, we are focused on selling on Akshaya Tritiya. Unlike like you said, you must have bought. We are more focused on sales.
Great. Anup, thank you so much. I'll obviously come back to you. But while I was a little confused, Pyush, I'm so sorry. I was even trying to reconnect with your LinkedIn profile, where you're talking about automobiles and everything else. So here, my question, first of all, for my own understanding, where do I place you? Is it the developer I'm talking to, or a prop tech expert is what I'm looking at? What is it? To start with, my question will come accordingly. I'm sorry to ask this question because I couldn't find that answer.
So thank you, Zia, for having us. I would briefly introduce you first so that you have a fair bit of idea and then you can put up the question to me. So I am a second generation entrepreneur and I represent Lohia Global. We are a diversified business group. So we are into automobiles, we are into handicrafts. We are one of the largest exporters of handicraft based out of Moradabad. So it's a small city in UP. And
I know it is famous for especially the Bartan Bhande वगैरह उसके लिए बहुत famous है. Copper, sorry. क्या कहते हैं उसे? Brass. Yes. Yeah. You don't need to introduce that city. We know it.
So we recently started with real estate venture, and just like other corporates, we feel that there's a lot of value that can be created across the real estate segment, and henceforth I'm here discussing and talking about real estate.
So, badhiya, Pyush, so I think I should talk about Moradabad. That's my passion, because we're talking about new cities. Enough of Mumbai, enough of Delhi, etc. We need to focus on beyond these 4-5 cities. And Moradabad, hence, is a passion. I recall, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, some 2 or 3 large developers from Delhi have entered Moradabad already, if I'm not mistaken. I have a very dear friend from Moradabad who bought it from a developer who had come from Delhi for last 15 years. He hasn't seen his makan getting ready. He hasn't seen the possession yet. So here it is. I'm sure you are from Moradabad. Rather than relying on somebody coming from Delhi to create something, I'm so glad to have people like Mohit, etc., who are actually doing what they know in their cities. So what is it, Pyush, that you believe you would be doing in that city to ensure that it is, competing with why Jaipur but Delhi? What would be your view of your city, Moradabad, for next 25 years?
So Moradabad in per se, or any tier 2 city in India, predominantly they all are buzzing with economic activity currently. There are small manufacturing setups which are kind of mushrooming and trying to become big and contribute to the global economic scenario. Plus, a lot of China outsourcing is shifting and moving towards India. So what is happening is all these businesses, all the small businesses that are existing there, they are making money and they are traveling well, and they are actually looking forward to a great experience while the businesses are mushrooming. So as a real estate, there's a huge opportunity that lies in like Aligarh, Hyderabad.
Anytime.
Can I request Mr. Deep to keep it? Okay, sure. Please go ahead, Pyush. I'm so sorry for the interference.
So we see as a great opportunity in terms of bringing the true lifestyle to Moradabad, and not only just Moradabad, cities like Aligarh, there is Muzaffarnagar, there is a lot of tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities, which are predominantly industrial hubs. And there's a market and people are just waiting for good projects to come in there. Yes, a lot of other developers had entered a long time back. This is around two decades back, I think. There were some developments which are on hold and they didn't move the way people had expected to. But I think now there is, with RERA coming in and all the compliances that are there are a lot of serious players who are entering all these markets, and hopefully things will get better there.
So do you see yourself competing with the top developers? चलिए आप मीरठ और नोएडा की बात कर लें. You don't want to expand to the whole NCR. Someday, why would I not see the Lohia group entering NCR and bringing in what you have learned from Moradabad to NCR? Why would it not happen that way?
That can always happen. I think good projects and good value is always appreciated anywhere in the world. So we would be doing a project in Lucknow and Delhi as well. So that's on the card for next year. This year we plan to do projects majorly in tier 2 cities, and there'll be a lot of learnings which we'll bring on table, which will be exclusive to these cities. So I think
Wonderful.
there can be a lot of knowledge share which can happen from a small city because we have a luxury of space there. So
True. Wonderful. So great to hear. Energies, the the untapped energy is coming on in front of us. And while I think I wanted to do prop tech first, but I can't keep the lady waiting in because they always say ladies first. But so prop tech, please don't mind. I'll come to you slightly later. But starting with Nikita, hunt partners. Well, I'm definitely going to leave my CV with you for you to hunt for a good job for me. Here it is, Nikita. You are partner in an organization which is well known. You don't need introduction for the organization. And two things I'm going to come to you about. First is, and this is something which should have been a general question to many of you, कि इतनी कम उम्र में इतना ग्रोथ, fabulous. ऊपर वाले की कृपा है आप पर, हम चाहेंगे किसी तरह आप ग्रो करते रहो. लेकिन how do you manage that stress? Partner and hunt partners is not really a small task. Achieving that kind of a progress that you have. So if you start with that, I'll come to you on a specific question later. But this is first part focusing on you, Nikita, as a person.
Thank you, Gulam. There's only one answer to that. The answer is to create my ecosystem around me, which is working 24/7. This is back at home and in office. So back at home, I literally have been blessed with an army of 5 to 7 people. And the same kind of army is with me, fortunately, in my practice back in office. So I would say resources, resources, and resources. That's the only answer, Gulam.
Well, let me dig it a bit deeper. And this is again a question which I'm sure must be addressed. Sapna, I think you should look at it when you're talking about 40, above under 40 or whatever. This question is for these youngsters who are doing phenomenally well at a young age like that, Nikita. And because I'm sure since HR is your practice, you would also be coming across that concern. Globally, it is established that you are at the prime of your competencies and career in 60s and 70s. And in our country, which is so full of resources, we typically look at retiring at 58, 60, where you are just about reaching the pinnacle of your career. Now, my question aapse, Nikita, ye hai कि you did mention that there are people to look around, but you did talk about something like 24 hours work culture. Is it not detrimental? You have a huge life ahead of you. I would also want to believe that in your 60s and 70s, you would be at your productive best. You need to last that long. If the candle is burning at both ends, how would you manage that? So the question is to you as well. Aapne itna kuch kiya hai, how do you manage that work-life balance? Yeah, don't tell me that you have resources at home as well as there. जो दिमाग में है वो तो है. Those resources cannot take your mental stresses away. So how do you manage that, Nikita?
Of course, two ways. I think one is to get your day with multiple activities other than work. And this is not just plain pursuing a hobby. This is, for example, there is my days interspersed with my yoga sessions, or the days interspersed with my twin girls and taking to them for their classes. The days interspersed is by having a glass of wine with my husband after work hours, stepping out for dinner. So these are, they don't take too much of your mental bandwidth. They take a lot of your emotional bandwidth, but less of physical, more emotional. So a day-to-day planning on these areas really helps. And the second way is that, I have to say this, Gulam, I'm not too much of an advocate, or I really don't understand this concept of work-life balance, but for those who really understand this, for me, so work, if it's passion, you don't necessarily need to balance out anything, right? Because you go with the flow. And when you go with the flow, then there is much less effort to really make things work at your end. So I'm fortunate to be perhaps one of those lucky ones where I found my passion at work. And that's the only way I will continue.
Great. So a lot to pick up for most of the youngsters here, how to maintain that balance. You did give a few, precious tips. I hope people are listening and they may learn a thing or two out of it, which is beyond your professional, lessons that you want to pass across. But now coming to the job, to the real estate and infra segment. Nikita, we recently did some work for ministry and for some industry organizations. There is this paper we have written on skill development for infrastructure and real estate. And the numbers that I have in front of me are in 2024, 23-24 financial year, FY24, we are looking at about 160 to 170,000. I'm sorry. 160 to 170,000 new jobs created. Okay. And then we are looking at some kind of crystal ball gazing. If the economy is growing the way it is growing, what kind of resources would we require? So this is something which is stark in front of us. A 10.5 kind of a CAGR, kind of a growth in number. I'm talking about skilled employees required. I'm completely focusing on graduates required to make Bharat grow into what it wants to grow into. Okay, and here it's a big challenge. ये लोग आएंगे कहाँ से? And if it is Hunt partner, interested to get India its next lot of resources. हर साल तकरीबन 1.5 से 2 लाख अंदाजन ग्रेजुएट्स आपको चाहिए हैं. ये क्या करना होगा कि भारत के जो growth targets हैं वो achieve हो पाए. So this I guess is a straight away in your domain, Nikita. What is your view on this? And this would include everything. I'm talking about prop tech, real estate, contractors, EPCs, you name it. Any kind of firm that is associated with real estate, I've included all of them in these numbers. So your view, Nikita. And you're going to be there for next 20-25 years. You will be delivering that. So how will you, Nikita?
Gulam, I'll just like to contextualize this question to, where I really focus on, right? Because Hunt typically operates at the leadership level. So I may not be directly influencing the talent at the base level. But to answer your question, there are measures and steps being taken to not wait for on-the-job training related skill development programs. As part of your interviewing process or as part of your internship process right after college, there are students who are getting exposed to tech-based interview platforms. It could be in the form of virtual, it could be in the form of gaming, it could be in the form of even aptitude-related tests and exposures like this. So one is from an employer perspective. An employer doesn't necessarily have to wait for getting a person on board and getting them trained and skilled on the job. You can very well curate your interviewing process or your internship process with the use of these tech-based tools to identify latent skills which already exist in individuals at that age, right? So skills is both, right? One can be learned and one is inherent. So these tools will allow you to extract the inherent skills and then put them to its best use. So that's my simple response to how can organizations and employers make use of this to early identify and then, of course, nurture the talent that they bring at scale.
I'm sure all the leaders who are on the panel are listening to you and making notes of that. Anup, I hope, Mohit, you guys are writing down whatever tips she is giving. Free tips, Nikita.
Feel free to speak with me anytime after the conversation today as well. Now, how can really firms like us or someone like me really impact is, at the end of the day, a leader's role is really to build capabilities in the organization, right? And they themselves become responsible to groom and nurture this kind of talent. So what I'm really seeing from a future perspective is the real estate market is focused on, in my word, community development right now. You pick up any product. There is a sense of speed and distance, right? How fast can you reach in the shortest duration of time, correct? So this is really creating to a product approach at building your business. If you're doing a residence, are you providing amenities inside and outside? If you're doing a commercial building, we're talking about vertical warehousing structures these days. So there's a lot of interdependency between various asset classes in the sector today. Now, this alone will result into a significant amount of expansion of skill sets. For example, what is the kind of leader who can really sell a vertical structure cutting across warehousing, commercial, and retail? Today, we have specialists in this domain, right? So we're looking for someone who has the GTM ability. We're looking for someone who has the customer connector network, irrespective of where the person comes from. So these are examples of where we as firms will help them identify where in the world, in India or global, can this talent really be looked at and considered. Now, of course, these are for organizations who may have direct access to a larger pool of capital very early on, if you're a startup, or some of my fellow colleagues on the call today, if you're not able to consider product approaches like this. I still believe, Gulam, to your earlier question, people who are in their late 50s or early 60s, the reason they're still ripe, the reason they're still, competent is not just because of the number of years of experience they carry, but it's also because this is the skill segment in the market that my colleagues on the call can tap into as advisors. And again, this is something that Hunt Partners does, right? Because what are we looking for as young entrepreneurs? We're looking for an intuitive play. We're also looking for great talent, but we're also looking for reflection. We're looking for what's been done, what's proven, what can we imbibe, how can we tweak. So for that, experience is key, right? So creating advisory boards, bringing operating advisors on boards, tapping into that talent in late 50s and early 60s, making them feel still relevant. So that is another way where firms like us can contribute. So I'll stop there.
Thank you so much. Lot of important pieces of advice, and one thing which I am very happy about, that there are people who are actually talking about people in their 60s and 70s and making use of them. And soon I'll be reaching them. Nikita, I hope you remember me someday that there was somebody that oldie sitting there. So I hope all of us in that age bracket are finding productive use for ourselves in the industry in times to come. Now, coming to the PropTech side of it, Nikita, thank you so much. I loved every moment of it. For PropTech now, there are two panelists who are coming from this specific domain. Now, I will start with Akash. Rayan, I'll come to you towards the end, because I think CRM is what I gathered is what I would love to pick your brains upon. But Akash, PropTech, this is one field we've been recently talking about. I was on a CII event and grilling a few of prominent developers, asking them this question, कि आप लोग PropTech की बात करते हो, लेकिन जब कोई PropTech का solution लेके आता है तो आप उसको कितना revenue assure कर सकते हो? Because ultimately it all depends on your sustainabilities. How will you continue to grow your business to provide solutions to the industry? So my question in getting into it was, when I said that you're spending 5% of your revenue on putting hoardings all over the cities, and that's exactly what is happening. You go to every city, you will see hoardings only of real estate. तो आप 4 से 5% आप टॉप लाइन का होर्डिंग पे लगा रहे हो, आपका फ्यूचर ग्रोथ के लिए क्या सोचा है आपने? Because if PropTech, AI, machine learning, and all of them is going to be the future. And here we have a few developers. I'll come back to them with this question again. लेकिन आपसे आकाश, शुरुआत इस बात की करना चाह रहा हूं कि आप PropTech की बात कर रहे हो, अब तक आपने PropTech में कितना सक्सेस देखा, और अगर ज्यादा सक्सेस नहीं है, so where do you see that we can force, and I'm a part of it because I've been talking about it on various industry platforms, last one recently on CII, and they made note of it, that what should it be done? आपको किसी को award दे देना, best PropTech company, etc. is one thing, but to ensure business, to ensure that आपके जो key learnings हैं, वो आप हमारी industry में कैसे incorporate कर पाओ, ये चीज अब तक मुझे होती भी नहीं दिख रही है. If you want to differ it, please go ahead and tell me. Do you really see PropTech finding its place of glory under the sun today? Over to you, Akash.
Hey, hi, good evening. Thanks, Gulam, for asking this question. So I'll introduce myself. I'm a developer, to be frank. PropTech has been a very interesting part of my solution during my journey. So coming to PropTech question, to be very frank, PropTech is a very personalized solution a developer would look at. For example, some people would look at the sales part of it. Some people would look at a holistic solution in terms of construction, in terms of advancement of supply chain demand, in terms of how the digital marketing has to take place. I would defer to you that not a lot of developers, new age developers, depend on hoarding or print media extensively nowadays. Digital marketing, SEO, SMO, and plus influencing marketing, plus personalized touch in the marketing has gone up. It's due to the AI, it's due to the prop tech. We are able to geo-target people. We are able to understand the demographics. We are able to see what kind of behavioral patterns we have in terms of demographics. So I believe that a prop tech is a holistic solution, which would lead to a better real estate future in terms of finding that particular customized solution to a developer or to a customer also. Like saying smart homes, Alexa powered homes, Google powered homes, AI homes. Now, a lot of people are doing a lot of research. Like rightly said, a lot of developers from Pune are interested in giving a smart solution home. But just by giving the Alexa powered home, that doesn't become a prop tech solution. A prop tech solution would be, am I able to save the energy? What is the consumption of energy? What is the consumption of water happening at that particular flat, even if I'm there or even if I'm not there? What kind of green impact or the carbon emission we are doing in terms of utilizing the energy of that particular. If you see in today's time, all the ACs have gone up due to the summers. 38% of the entire carbon emission is taking place due to the AC, and the energy consumption has also gone up. So is PropTech going to provide solution for that? That are few basic questions. There are some players in the market who say that they will provide a particular solution, but I believe there is a lot of research and development to happen to get a proper solution in terms of what would be the personalized question a person would be asking depending on the geographical area. Pune being a very blessed city in terms of atmosphere, in terms of livability index. So Pune would have a different solution, Mumbai would have a different solution, Jaipur would have a different solution. So PropTech has to be a personalized solution. You can't have an average of problems. Yeah, you can define the baseline in terms of that the recovery should be taken place at the time. The demand should go at this time. So there could be a baseline to it, but everybody has a different way of running business. Standardization would come. But at the same time, everybody has to look at their way of looking at a PropTech and finding the solution which is right for them, rather than focusing on a holistic market. For an example, my ex-developer has this PropTech and I should go and hunt for him and I should get at a better cost. That should not happen. I believe a PropTech should be looked at as a personalized solution rather than having a holistic approach towards it.
Thank you so much. So PropTech as personalized solution is what you are focusing on or what you are pushing for. I'll come to you again. I don't know how much of time would we have left, but coming to Rayan, CRM. I guess, am I right if I ask you about CRM? Because when I read through all that, while you have real estate developer side backdrop as well and IPCs and so on, but I want to believe right now you're in PropTech and CRM is the focus. Am I right, Rayan?
Well, Gulam, hi. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am a launch and a strategic partner. We are not into PropTech as yet, but we envision to be in the PropTech space in the future. So what we try and do currently is about, we work on the pricing strategy, launch strategy for the developer in enhancing the sales and marketing in terms of sales, giving the right price and the right realization, and giving the right kind of pricing for a developer. So that's what we currently do. But yeah, we envision to become the largest PropTech maybe in the next year. So we are in a very nascent stage at this point in time. We've not started as yet, but just thoughts in mind is where we wanted to start off.
So Rayan, I would pick your brain on this aspect only. I think Akash said that he's also a developer. And hence, perhaps the answer which I wanted from him was not fully, I could not get that answer very specifically. And whatever little I understand, I still want to believe that the developer side of it is still not warming up to AI, PropTech and R&Ds, L&Ds as much as it should have. I think Akash spoke about smart homes. My career, first smart home I ever heard about was in Pune, from Pune. And I'm talking about 2008. I don't remember the name of the developer. That development was on Chandni Chowk Junction somewhere. on the highway, and I don't remember the name. That developer is gone, doesn't exist anymore. But he had started with much of a fanfare that the first smart home of the country, etc., etc. So a lot of it is lip service. I still want to believe, and I'm sure developers will have a lot of complaints against me for saying such things. Today you're talking about old age home. Today you're talking about tens of those concepts. Next 2 years, when your regular run-of-the-mill products will be doing well because they're the ones which give you maximum profit, most of these jargons will be forgotten. You'll be back in that grind कि मुझे तो यही करना है. So the long-term solutions are typically missing in this fraternity because ultimately you can't blame them. It's commerce. So Ryan, question आपके लिए ये है कि do you see, assuming that you're getting into a prop tech startup, do you see the developers will be as attentive to your solutions that you're bringing on the table? Ryan.
Well, definitely yes, because there's lots happening in the PropTech solution because there has to be automated communication which needs to go to all the consumers in the market, because what happens is today the consumers, the channel partners and the developers, this is the mainframe that we have. So we engage and we automate a pivotal system which we have a proper property listing where we have scheduled viewing and also frequently virtual property tools that we would going to have we will engage in the future. And also what happens is while we try and generate the lead and qualify, so you also need to analyze each and every online queries from your social media interactions to the source of lead. I would also want to emphasize on the market analysis and the insights that we do before even entering the market, or we have a go-to market strategy for the developers. So when you have artificial intelligence and machine learning coming in together, so obviously we will be able to kind of have a lot of algorithms going in the historical data with the lead management, and it kind of prioritizes the entire thing into conversion and then efficiency in getting the home buyer the right choice in having the right home for him.
Thank you so much. I guess while I have covered every panelist, but time constraint है, कई दसियों बातें हैं because there are youngsters here जिनको मैंने थोड़ा बहुत provoke भी किया है. I'm sure तब भी रहे हैं कि क्या क्या बातें बोल के जा रहा है. But to me the concern is 30 years में मैंने देखा है कि research and development real estate में होता जाता कुछ खास है नहीं. Lip service बहुत होती है. So even if you are upset with me, I want to at least think about it कि आगे चल के अगले 25 साल जब आप इस इंडस्ट्री को, इस कंट्री को केटर करने वाले हो, तो कहीं ना कहीं वो माइंडसेट शिफ्ट आना जरूरी है. सो इफ आई एम एबल टू जोल्ट यू आउट ऑफ द archaic mode of a typical developer, I would, even if you abuse me, I'll be happy that at least I catered to the industry and requirement in future. A quick one across the table, I will take this because I don't think we have more than 5-7 minutes. A minute each to all of you before I hand it over back to the organizers. Since we are talking about future, let's fantasize. When India is growing from 4 trillion to 25 trillion, what is your future fantasy? Because ultimately realities will come out of those fantasies, those dreams. So how big is it that you can dream? We'll start in that order. I have the windows in front of me. Anup, starting with you. In 1 minute, what is the dream that you have for Bharat?
1 minute dream is that we automate the entire. So in the morning, Binita just said that in 5 minutes, we were shown by an AI expert that how do you design an entire new project based on the UDCR laws that are governing that city. And in another 5 minutes, he would come up with the elevations also and the logos also, and also the entire data of that market, micro market. And that is what we are looking. But this is on the developer side. We have already progressed a lot on the sales side, but we don't use AI and chat GPT much when it comes to our legal side or our architect planning side, which I think will be a great boost in near future, including the government authorities, where we still rely on doing a physical demarcation on site, which should be completely done by the GPS, and you have Google Earth and everything. It should be done that. I'm looking at that era, where my children are very much, interested in coming and working in the real estate industry, and it's no more a game of who knows who, and it's a leveled platform for everybody to perform with their own credibility.
Good vision. Thank you so much, Anup. Over to you, Mohit.
So as I started, for me, it is for us, I would say for our group, it is more about sustainability. So I would just hope that more and more developers take the sustainable route and they make net zero projects across the country, because we need that in future if we want to grow and if we want to see a brighter future for the country. So yes, I would request everyone, all of my colleagues here, to make sustainable homes and net zero projects. And I think one thing which is lacking in our industry is customer delight. Our industry is still not looked in the best possible manner. अभी भी इंडस्ट्री ट्रीट नहीं करा जाता, अभी भी लगता है बिल्डर है, पैसे कमाता है, पता नहीं क्या करता है. दिस इज द कॉमन नोशन अक्रॉस द कंट्री. सो एंड इट इज ट्रू टू सम एस्पेक्ट्स, बट मैं सिंपल सी बात करता हूँ. अपन एमिरेट्स में जाते हैं, एक सिंपल बिजनेस क्लास की टिकट खरीदते हैं, उसमें वो आपको ऐसी 7 स्टार सर्विस देते हैं. एंड हमारे यहाँ हमारा कस्टमर 1 करोड़ का, 2 करोड़ का, 10 करोड़ का मकान खरीदता है. He deserves 7-star service because he has taken the most important decision of his whole life. उसका अगले 100 साल का एड्रेस वो बनने वाला है. So he deserves all the customer delight. So these two things, I envision that सारे fellow developers ये सब करेंगे. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohit. Thank you so much, Nikita. Your vision for the future of India, the Bharat in next 25 years. Nikita, unmute yourself, please.
Gulam, you're sounding like a true patriot, and I'm so glad you've raised this question because you make each one of us an equal true blue patriot. My vision is, the theme is the grass is greener on my side. Right? Now, this literally means today homes is aspirational and not very accessible. So my dream is to see that a very simple but a very critical product like a home or a house equally affordable and accessible to all the Indians in the course of the next many years. That's
Thank
it.
you so much. Thank you so much. Home is aspirational product. Thanks, Nikita. Rayan, over to you, please.
I think my dream for real estate and the vision would be where technology seamlessly integrates with the environment, which creates sustainability and vibrant communities. Because I think that's what is lacking today, because we don't have sustainability and vibrant communities. So I think with the smart cities and the AI and IoT, we'll be able to kind of optimize the resources uses, and we'll be able to kind of bring in a lot of diverse population and have social equality and economic prosperity.
Thank you so much, Rayan. Over to you, Akash.
To be very frank now, 25-year kind of a vision is a huge vision. It's a 2.5 decade vision. I believe that affordability index and the livability of the index of the country should go up. The healthcare sector should come to the optimum level. The house affordability in terms of metro cities and rural urban housing also should take place. I believe that a lot of infrastructure growth is happening. I believe it should penetrate to till the last benefiting person. If this happens, India will have a very holistic growth in terms of economy and in terms of overall development.
Great view, Akash. Thank you so much. And ultimately, sorry to conclude this with you, but Pyush, last but not the least, your vision for what you would see India in next 25 years.
I think housing for all is something that should have been there. I mean, 25 years is a lot of time though. But if in next 10 years also, if we are able to give housing to everybody, I think that's something that would change.
उसके आगे के 15 साल के क्या करोगे आप पीयूष?
फिर और अच्छे घर बनाएंगे.
Okay, thank you so much. It was fun interacting with you all. And हम लोगों में ये कहते हैं कि अगर आप नौजवानों के साथ वक्त गुजारो तो आपको बुढ़ापे का एहसास नहीं होता. So today was that day for me. आप लोगों के दरमियान जो वक्त आज गुजारा है, it's going to be extremely precious. It's something which I would value for the rest of my life. So with that, I bring it back to you, Swapna. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to participate in this. As usual, a great fun to be a part of Realty Plus programs. Thanks. Over to you, Swapna.
Thanks, Gulam. Keeping aside your many years of work in the industry and the sector, you are young at heart. So as a young person, what is your fantasy for next 25 years?
अच्छा, आपने मेरी ही मुझ पर ही पलटा दी. सॉरी टू से दिस, हम कहते हैं मेरी बिल्ली मुझी से मियाओ. चलिए ठीक है, आपने वो सवाल मुझी से कर दिया. देखिए, where we stand from, the vantage point that we are doing a lot of work in infrastructure domain. और जब मैंने मोहित से ये सवाल किया था, मोहित रोड की बात कर रहे हैं, मैं मास रैपिड ट्रांसपोर्ट की बात कर रहा था. जब हाई स्पीड रेल, दुनिया में 300 किलोमीटर पर आवर की हाई स्पीड रेल कॉमन है. आप लंदन चले जाइए, कहीं भी चले जाइए, आपको 15 सिटीज में मिल रही है. इंडिया में हम उस ईरा में एंटर कर रहे हैं. हम उसे बुलेट ट्रेन कर रहे हैं, विच इज ट्रूली नॉट अ बुलेट ट्रेन, इट इज ओनली अ हाई स्पीड रेल, HSR, बट वी विल गेट देयर. आप जापान जाइएगा, आपको 550-600 किलोमीटर पर आवर की स्पीड वाली ट्रांसपोर्ट मैकेनिज्म मिल रही है. सो इफ यू आर आस्किंग मी, माय फ्यूचर इज दैट इन नेक्स्ट 25 years we shall see distances evaporating. Waqt, I think it was Nikita who spoke about it, and then later on Anup also spoke about speed. Speed is actually that. The whole community, 1.5 billion, कितने हमारे जितने लोग हैं सारे, उनको इकट्ठा अगर हम 3 घंटे से 4 घंटे के फासले पे कन्याकुमारी से कश्मीर पहुंचना शुरू कर दें, फिर देखिए क्या फर्क पड़ता है. तो इफ यू टॉक अबाउट जापान, द कनेक्ट इज दैट, बिकॉज द होल लैंड मास ऑफ जापान इज कनेक्टेड सो वेल, एंड दैट इज व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी द नर्व सेंटर ऑफ इंडियन ग्रोथ. Infrastructure growth will bring us all so close to each other that we all will be able to participate in the growth. I don't know how long will I last. I would love to be there when we conclude 100 years of Bharat. लेकिन that future is extremely bright. मेरी आंखें चुंधिया रही हैं हमारा मुस्तकबिल देखकर, पर ये हम यहाँ खड़े हैं. लोगों को शायद इस बात का एहसास आज नहीं हो रहा, लेकिन जरूर होगा. जिनको नहीं हो रहा उनको अगले चंद सालों में होगा. But that is what future is calling. And that's exactly why I was so interested, so excited when you ask about talking you the future. They are the future. We will be there only to support them if at all they need us. Thank you so much, Sapna.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with you, Gulam. And yes, looking at all these young entrepreneurs, yes, our future is bright. And I know you have another meeting to attend to. So thank you so much, Gulam, for being here with us, talking to these, young professionals of Indian real estate, and for all the positive sentiment that all our speakers have presented here. So great, the future is bright. Thank you so much, Gulam. Thank you, everyone, Nikita, Mohit, Anup, Pyush, Akash, everyone for being here with us, joining us, Rayan being here, part of this session. Thank you very much. We couldn't have concluded this conclave on a better note than this.